Welcome to the Audio Inc. Radio podcast, featuring interviews with the biggest names in rock and metal, hosted by Anne Erickson.
Get inked. Visit Facebook.com/Audio Inc. Radio, Twitter.com/Audio Inc. Radio, and AudioIncRadio.com for more ink. Whew, that's a lot of ink. It's AudioIncRadio.com.
Do you ever have one of those nights when you just cannot sleep for whatever reason? I mean, you're tired, but you just lie there and bam, nothing. You cannot fall asleep. I hate that. That is the worst feeling for me. I hate that. I've always hated it since I was a little kid. I had that kind of a night last night. Yeah. So this is going to be an extra fun podcast because I have no idea what I'm going to say or what is going to happen because I'm on no sleep and hopefully I do better tonight. Maybe I had chocolate too late, but I always have chocolate. So I don't think it was that. But anyway, if you've ever had that happen, I'm sure you have, just let me know that I'm not alone. Hit me up and give me your story. Sometimes I just go on my phone and kind of look around at what's going on. And it actually makes me feel less alone in the middle of the night if I see that other people are up, if that makes any sense. But in other news, I have to say that we have had a bunch of great guests on the show lately. And I want to thank you for rocking with me, hanging out with me on the show, because without you, without the listener, none of it would happen. I've got a bunch of great listeners and we're actually charting really well on iTunes and stuff like that. I'm very grateful from the bottom of my heart for all of your support. And you know that I love heavy metal music. I can't even think of a rock type of genre that I don't love, except maybe if you remember several years ago, there was kind of an alternative movement that was folky. I don't want to name any bands because I don't want to diss any bands, and they're all very popular and very talented and everything. But some of those bands in that kind of folk alternative movement, I hate it. I want guitars. I mean, when alternative stations and alternative music suddenly went guitar-less, I was just like, I cannot handle it. So that is one form of rock music that I don't think I can handle. Guitar-less alternative rock music. But when it comes to other rock and metal music, I pretty much like everything. But post-grunge has a very unique place in my heart. If you listen to me on the show on a regular basis, you know that the first music I ever really heard and fell in love with on the radio was post-grunge music. Bands like Shinedown, Seether, Puddle of Mud. I mean, all of those bands that were huge in the early 2000s, and new metal in there too. You know, I like Limp Bizkit, and hey, I called it. If you go back to some of my previous stuff on the podcast, you'll hear me talk about my unabashed love for Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit. I love it. I am not ashamed. And I was saying this months before what I'm calling their big comeback, because they have a huge tour booked for the States. They're headlining some major festivals like Lollapalooza. And this all happened a few months after I started talking about them on the show. So I kind of want to take just a little credit. You hear that, Fred? Do you hear that, Fred Durst? I helped Limp Bizkit be cool again or come back into trends. I don't know, but I'm just going to claim that. And all this music just means a lot to me. The first record that I ever remember asking for Christmas, or people say, what's the first record that you ever bought? The first record that I remember buying, I have no idea, but I do remember the first record that I asked my parents for, and it was Puddle of Mud with Come Clean. What a great post-grunge album. I mean, look at all the great tracks on there. There was Blurry, which you still hear all the time on rock radio. Control, which you also hear a lot, and Drift and Die. That's just 3 of the tracks on there. And really, I mean, the songs on there are kind of the soundtrack to people's lives. Blurry especially is just a really important, crucial song to so many people. It means a lot to a ton of different people. Wes, of course, has some issues with addiction, and he has been very forthright and very honest about everything he's gone through. And I think that's really cool because his story is helping other people who are dealing with addiction. And now Puddle of Mud, they've got a new record out, and they've got #1 chart-topping songs and tracks like Uh-Oh, which was #1 on the chart last year. I believe it was last year, maybe 2019, but it was recently #1 on the chart. And I am very happy for all of their success. And I'm very happy to have Wes from Puddle of Mud on the show. Awesome to have him back. He was on the show right when the lockdown first started back in March or April of last year. And he is back on the show to talk about new music from Puddle of Mud and their tour. They've got a tour. Actually, they've been on the road already performing live, and they've got a tour. Dates run through November. That's a lot of tour dates. They're kind of sprinkled throughout, but they are hitting one of my favorite venues, the Machine Shop in Flint, on October 15th. Yeah, if you are a Michigan person, or even if you aren't, chances are you've heard of the Machine Shop because it is legendary. A lot of rockers, it's just their favorite place to perform. Great chat on the way right now with Wes from Puddle of Mud. And hey, don't forget to hit me up online. I would love to hear from you anytime. Just hit me up and let me know what you think of the show, or if you have an idea for a guest. Find me on Facebook. Just head to itsmeanne.com. That's itsmeanne.com. itsmeanne.com to link up on my personal Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat. Direct is at Anne Erickson. Instagram and TikTok is Erickson Anne. You can also just search Anne Erickson on Facebook and my page will pop up, which is the easiest way to find it. And you can also, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, that's just mean. Don't be mean. Go ahead and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Hit that button and you'll be instantly notified of the next big episode. And I promise it will be worth it because we have the biggest names in rock and metal on the show, and it is always a fun time. Check out my band Upon Wings at uponwings.com. Female-led metal music, and our latest single features Ralph Sheepers of Primal Fear and Gamma Ray. It's called Eternal Way. Uponwings.com to check it out. And if you're on Patreon, it's a great way to support the show. Anything from $1 a month up just really helps with the cost of the show and keeping everything alive. You'll find the Patreon link wherever you're listening right now. You can just click that link, pick a package, and you'll get freebie, private photos and stuff like that. Some fun little things for helping to support the show. All right, it's Anne Erickson. Let's get into it. A great chat with Wes from Puddle of Mud.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? I'm chilling with Anne from Audio Inc. Radio, Puddle of Mud style, Wesley Scantlin on the horn. Let's get her done. We coming to get down and rock. Yikes!
So it is very exciting that you guys are back on the road playing your first show since everything, shut down due to the pandemic. What has the energy been like at these gigs?
I mean, everybody's just having a great time and, smiles on their faces. It's really special. It's really cool. Yeah. Everybody's just having a good time.
Does it feel like things are back to normal out there on the road, or is there like a different hesitation?
Well, I mean, I don't really, it's like, I guess there's a spike in the virus again. The Foo Fighters canceled the tour the other day here in Los Angeles, and Buck Cherry's not going to play, and a show or two down the street when we go. Yeah, I don't know. It's dicey, but we'll still go rock it.
Right. I know it's been so long. And as far as the crowd, does everyone seem just like really extra happy, to have live music back?
Yeah, they're ultra stoked. Believe me.
Cool. How many dates have you guys done so far?
Last weekend was our second date, and bunch of them coming up, unless something completely weird happens.
Does it kind of just feel like getting back on a bike? Even though you guys have been off the road for so long, does it just come back right away when you guys are on stage?
It just takes about one little jam fest deal, and then we can get right back on the bike and just keep on rolling, playing new songs from the new album, Welcome to Albania, and we're playing as many songs as we possibly can before we keel over and die on stage.
That's always a good thing. And I really love your latest single, Just Tell Me. I feel like it's classic Puddle of Mud. So tell me what that track is about and why it's special to you.
It's like, you like fall in love with somebody, and, you really don't know who they really are. And then you're just kind of like saying, hey, just tell me what I got to do, I love you. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And that's basically it, Sometimes, it's great to have a positive type thing and an optimistic type situation at the end of the day. So it's a little antithetical, I guess you can say.
And then also it was really awesome to see Puddle of Mud back on the charts with your track Uh-Oh, which did just like super well. And that's a big deal for a band that's been around as long as you guys. So did you guys know that track would do so well?
Everybody messes up in their life, every single person in this world that's ever been born has messed up something, some way, somehow along the trail, and then basically you just kind of pick yourself back up, shake off the dust, and give God a high five, and just power on and power through, Godspeed.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, it's something that everyone can relate to because everyone has gone through that in life.
Everybody. Even my dog's sitting there looking at me.
So have you guys been working on a follow-up to your last record yet? I know it came out in 2019, so it hasn't been too long, but...
Well, unfortunately, it's kind of an antithetical statement. I've been able to pretty much just write and record every single day for the last over a year, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. It was a nice break, but unfortunately it wasn't a nice break. But as a songwriter, I was very stoked to be able to just write songs and be a songwriter, and just do what I do. That's what I do. I write songs,
So what can you tell me about the musical direction of the new stuff that you've been writing?
I'm going into a lot of differential open tunings, and a lot of ambiance, and then I'm doing this like I'm just incorporating super ultra cool crunch, mesmerizing crunch guitars and thick bass, ill ass beats, just killer freaking beats, and just make it all full, and so we gotta lighten it up, and we can lighten it up a little bit, but I want to make some heaviness happen too,
That sounds awesome. I cannot wait to hear it. When do you think it might be out?
Well, I hope very soon. It's not going to take 10 years, that's for sure. Or else I'll just fire everybody. Be like, bye, it's new record time.
Right, I know, because the last one, it was 10 years between records. So do you think we might get something new by the end of the year?
I would believe so, yeah, for sure. Yeah, all the people that tried to hold me back, they've all been fired. They fired themselves.
I hear ya. Cool, so I cannot wait to hear the new stuff. And so one of the best periods in music history, at least I think, is when bands like you, Puddle of Mud, and Shinedown, Seether, all these bands just broke big in the early 2000s, that kind of post-grunge era. Many of those bands, including you guys, are still really popular and still touring and making music. What do you think it is about your kind of music that has made such a long-term impact?
I mean, ultimately, as a songwriter, you're trying to reach people, you're trying to get under their skin, you're trying to reach out to them, connect to them in a cliche type pattern, And if you can actually attain that goal of reaching out to people you don't even know, and enlightening their life and helping them through a difficult situation, or sometimes maybe even just a great happy situation, and that's what I strive for. That's how I like to write. I like to have optimism at the end of the rainbow, and happiness, and there is turmoil, but there is light, and there is success and happiness at the end of the rainbow. So a lot of people are inspired by the songs and stuff that have been written by Puddle of Mud, and I'm super happy to have helped everybody mentally and kept them stable, including myself, and that's about it. And I'm happy to have done that and help people through some trials and tribulations.
Oh, for sure. Have you thought about the fact that tracks like Blurry and Control will probably always be on the radio? It's so cool.
That's awesome. I mean, that's amazing. Sheesh, man. That girl got legs, man. That girl got legs. As the industry.
When Come Clean first came out in 2001 and just took off, what was that period like for you?
Well, we were touring. It's just tour. Nobody had like a little radio, buckled to their freaking belt. So we didn't get to see a lot of it. We got to hear a lot of good news from our stellar managers and our record label, and we were just like happy just to be on tour, having a good time. So it worked out, and we're super stoked still about it. I am, definitely.
Do you remember the first time that you heard your music on the radio?
Yeah, it was in Kansas City at the Lone Star, and that was a song called Stuck that was released on 98.9 The Rock in Kansas City before we even got a deal or anything back in 1992 or 93. And going down the road, and 98.9 The Rock, they're the greatest people ever. They've helped me tremendously through my entire career musically, and personally, they're all great people. So I was cruising down the road, and all of a sudden, it just pops on 98.9 The Rock on the 435 highway, and I think I got out of my car and I started like screaming and dancing, and and that wasn't even on the Come Clean record. That was the Stuck record. So that was cool. I mean, that was really cool.
Yeah, that's crazy to think you guys, have been around so long. A lot of people think of you starting with Come Clean, but you guys were rocking out well before then.
Yes, ma'am. We sure have.
I know you weren't on the Family Values Tour, but I know that you have a story. So tell me your Family Values Tour story, because I just think it's a really cool tour.
I just went to that tour in Kansas City with a fake backstage pass and a demo tape, and I got backstage and gave it to Fred Durst, security guard. And, that was amazing. I mean, Fred is it's crazy. That man is an amazing person. He is completely, just gave me my dream. Tons of other people, but, at least he listened to the demo tape.
Oh, absolutely. I was actually going to ask if you keep in touch with Fred Durst or any of the Limp Bizkit guys.
Yeah, I reached out to him about a month ago. He's chilling. He's a director. He writes. He's a bitchin' musician. They're doing shows. I mean, they're packing. It's crazy. Check out Budapest. Or any of the other shows they're doing. It's like a million people just going crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love the fact that they have a tour coming up and they're doing festivals and stuff like that. It's like, yay, I'm so happy that Limp Bizkit is back.
Hell yeah.
One thing that I really like about you is that you're very open about your battle with addiction, and I feel like that really helps other people going through the same thing. Do you hope that your struggle and then, getting through it has inspired other people to kind of get the help they need?
It's a disease, and nobody asks for it. It's very struggling. It's very challenging. But if you hit meeting or something before you die, you know. But I've been going to Alcoholics Anonymous, NACA, you know, any AA you can think of since I was about 10, because my parents, I had to drive them to Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, when I was about 10 or 11 years old growing up, you know, without a driver's license, you know, about yay tall. And so I lived a lot of my life, you know, in Alcoholics Anonymous. Heck, we were even actually, you know, positioned in geographically growing up on AA highway.
Oh, wow.
And I've been, and we just left California on AA Airlines, and then we came back on AA Airlines, and they're not selling any beers or anything. And then, yeah, so I'm going to be going back on tour on AA Airlines, you know, so it's pretty funny. I mean, you know, if you're out there and, you know, you're feeling like, you know, you need somebody, you know, you can always go to a meeting, you know, an AA meeting, and they will embrace you, and they will have your back, and they will help you out. Or you can go to a rehabilitation center, but, you know, you kind of got to throw in the towel and, you know, just get her done and get on with it, you know, because, I don't know, the needle thing is just, I never did that, so that's cray-cray.
Yeah, that is cray-cray. What advice would you have for someone who is dealing with some kind of, you know, form of the disease right now?
It's going to take a lot of courage. I guess you got to kind of like let your guard down, let somebody just come in and go, hey man, you're not looking so good, you know, you kind of going to have to like hang it up for, you know, maybe for, you know, and just be honest with them, and maybe just be able to get something like that you could get to go and get better, you know.
How has God or faith helped you through this time too? Because you seem like, I've interviewed you before, you seem like a religious person.
Well, you got to keep God first place, always. He is real, and if you believe, he will, you know, he will give you your dreams. You know, just say a prayer, you know, when you get up, and when you go to bed, say a little prayer. And a lot of times when I do that, basically every night and morning, everything seems to end up, you know, in a pretty dang good doggone spot.
That's good advice. So what is next for you the rest of the year? I know you've got all the tour dates. Hopefully, you know, fingers crossed. I know it's so crazy with the pandemic. It's like with the new wave. You just hope that everything ends up being okay. But
well, I hope I can keep touring, and definitely going to go in the studio and record the next Puddle of Mud record. And basically, I don't know, pray that this freaking weird thing just like goes away finally and forever. Everybody should really seriously, just go get vaccinated. Some people have this like thing that I call invincibility syndrome disorder. It's a ISD disorder. Invincibility syndrome disorder. People think that they're invincible, and no, this will never happen to me. No. And it's like, bam, you're dead, you're on the floor, and you've infected other people that that were caring for you, and all of a sudden, oh, now they're dead on the floor. Be responsible, and I mean this, be responsible, and go get vaccinated. Don't skip the next vaccination appointment. Just get both of them. They're very simple. I've done it myself. It's right down the road from wherever the heck you actually live at.
yeah, I've been vaccinated, so don't worry.
It's seriously like, just go get vaccinated, man. Don't act like some kind of a freaking like you're better or bigger, tougher, or whatever. Because a lot of people have died, man.
Right. Well, is there anything else that you want to add?
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Have a great night.
You too, sweetie. Bye-bye.
Wes from Puddle of Mud, thank you for being an amazing guest on my show. You rock. Again, I'm really happy that he's doing so well on the road. And I think it's great that Wes has kind of shared his story of addiction and recovery with the world, because it helps a lot of people who are in that difficult place. James Hetfield, of course, he famously had to go back into rehab right before the lockdown, I think, or a few months before the lockdown. It was quite a while ago, but whenever these rockers are honest about what they're going through, I think it really just helps everyone know that, hey, they're just like us. And people who are struggling, it helps them realize that even cool metal dudes and rock stars, even they know when to get help. And no one is invincible. No one is above getting help. Everyone should be humble. So I think that's great that Wes has made his story very known. Love all the new stuff I've heard from Puddle of Mud lately. Check that out. And you can also look forward to that new music from the guys. Really cool that they've been writing a bunch during lockdown. And he says that we'll get something new out by the end of the year. Fingers crossed. But it sounds like that will happen. Don't forget to check out Puddle of Mud on the road. Right now they've got tour dates booked into November, including the Machine Shop in Flint on October 15th, which is a very cool venue. But no matter where you are, I mean, they're hitting up New York, New Hampshire, South Dakota, which I have a really good friend there in South Dakota who loves it. He heads up a rock station there. Texas, New Jersey, Illinois, Ohio, Wisconsin. They're going everywhere. There is no excuse not to see Puddle of Mud. It's Anne Erickson, and hey, as always, it was fun and fast. You rock. Thank you for being a part of the show and hanging out with me and talking with me about music every week. It means so much to me to have you here with me. And don't be shy. Hit me up on social media. I would love to hear from you. And it's kind of around my birthday time. My birthday is August 10th. So if you want to send me a birthday message, I will not be mad about it. I'll be very happy about it. Just head to itsmeanne.com, itsmeanne.com, itsmeanne.com to link up on my personal social media. Facebook is up there. Twitter and Snapchat direct is at Anne Erickson. Instagram and TikTok is Erickson Anne. You can also just search Anne Erickson on Facebook and my page will pop up. It's that easy. I'm pretty findable online. I would love to talk with you about music, or if you have an idea for a topic or guest on the show. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed on the podcast yet, I want you to do it right now. Yeah. Just search Anne Erickson wherever you listen to podcasts, hit subscribe, and you'll be instantly notified of the next big show. It's very easy. It's very quick, very simple, and it would mean a lot. If you haven't subscribed yet, you're pretty much breaking my heart. Check out my band, Upon Wings, at uponwings.com for female-led metal music. Oh, and I forgot to mention with the whole subscribe thing, if you're on Apple, please leave a 5-star review. Thank you for the great support. I'm all over the place because I did not sleep well last night. That's what happens, and gets kind of crazy when that happens. So whatever I've said on the show, I have no idea, but just know it was on no sleep. All right. And one other thing, a great way to support the show is on Patreon. Just head there. The link is in the show description here. Pick a package, everything from $1 a month up, and you'll get some freebies like private photos, access to my private Patreon, and inside kind of info on the show, depending on what package you pick. Lots of fun freebies, and thank you for supporting the show. YouTube is youtube.com/Audio Inc. Radio for visual interviews. And I've got some really great visual interviews up there with the biggest names in rock and metal. You can actually see them, see their faces while they're talking. It's a bit different than the podcast. Check out that Audio Inc. Radio on YouTube for our visual show. Once again, thank you for rocking. You are great. And I want to do it again for the next show. So don't forget to be back here the moment you see a new episode is up. Until next time, be safe, God bless, and we'll rock soon. Anne Erickson on Audio Inc. Radio.
It's Audio Inc. with Anne.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Audio Inc. Radio podcast. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. Get inked online at audioinkradio.com. I'm Anne Erickson for the Audio Inc. Radio podcast.